Now that our droid is able to take damage and be destroyed, we're going to look at actually taking damage ourselves, and more importantly, blocking fire. Now, any good Jedi should be able to see a droid going like this, and if it shoots at him, they should be able to block it with their lightsaber. Or if you've got any other melee weapons and you want to add a blocking animation and functionality, it also works for that as well. So, the bullets that our droid fires have got the ability to do damage. It's just currently our character can't take any damage. So, let's go into our game mode. Let's open up our Jedi, and let's add some ability to do this. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say event any damage here. Now, I could implement a damage system and give my character health and add a death animation and different things like that, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'll just have it launch the character. So let's pull a strand from there. So in the event of any damage, launch character. So let's add 200 to the Z, so we'll hit our character up. So right now we don't take any damage. We haven't got the option of dying, but we can see that we've been hit. There we go. So I'm not touching anything. When I'm shot, do it again. There we are. When I'm shot, it just bounces my character up just a little bit. If I turn that up to 500, it might be a little bit more noticeable. Let's say 2,000 just for a second, just to see that it does work. There it is. If I got you, I'll probably be. There we go. Not very practical. I've just been shot again. There you go. And it also makes it very hard for you to hit that droid because it's going to just bounce you all over the place. There we go. So I'm going to put that back down. Let's see. Put that to 300. So for now, that's our version of taking damage. It hits our character. We could play it down if we wanted to, but it just launches them a little bit just to show that you have been hit by an enemy. Nice and simple. You can replace that with whatever you like. But what I would like to do is use this blocking system here. So I'm going to pull blocking in because they get blocking. And I'm going to put a branch in between our launch. And I'm going to say, if our character is blocking, don't do anything. So I've held control, pull the strand out of true, and put it into false. So if our character isn't blocking, then launch the character. That's nice and simple. So that means now if our character was blocking, it wouldn't launch them, it wouldn't do anything. So we now need to make sure that we've got a system to actually block the incoming fire. Now in theory, this is quite easy. Now we made an input for right click, so I'm just going to say input action, and it is right click there. Now if we click right click, it should simply be a case of blocking. Let's say set blocking to true, and if we let go of it, set blocking to false, and that's realistically it. So let's give that a go. So let's go over here. There we are. I'm not blocking. If I ignite my lightsaber, I'm going to hold right click. So those bullets are hitting me, but because I'm holding right click, they're not doing any damage. I'm going to let go of right click. There we go. So that's working. The system itself is working. However, I'm not moving my lightsaber to block. I'm not doing anything. So there's no visual indicator that that's working. And in addition, if I lower my lightsaber and hold right click, I'm still blocking when I shouldn't have that ability. So let's have a little look at that. Before we do anything, we're going to add conditions to this. So if we're holding right click, we're also going to check if the saber is on and if we actually have the lightsaber. So if you remember from before, we used a special operand called an AND. So I'm going to say AND. There's an AND boolean there. Plug it in. And here we go. So I can no longer block if my lightsaber is not on and if I don't have a lightsaber. So let's double check that. I'm going to hold right click. It's still hitting me. Still hitting me. Ignite my lightsaber. right click, and there we are. Now it doesn't work. Or it does work, I should say. It doesn't hurt me. So this is working. So all I need to do now is have a little animation which allows me to move my lightsaber ever so slightly and actually show that I am blocking. And that's quite easy. So we're just going to use a nice little timeline. So let's pull a strand from set here, and let's say timeline. Add timeline on the bottom there, and I'm going to call this block. I'm going to pull a strand from that, and I'm going to say, actually no, I'm going to keep it in play. Let's keep it in play. Now I need to change one axis of my lightsaber. So if you imagine my lightsaber is here, let's click on my hinge. To block, I'm simply going to move in the X rotation and block like this. So the lightsaber, if you imagine, is in front of my face and it's blocking blocking the way. So let's turn that back. So let's have a look at what we done last time. The rotation is set to 0. So if I want it to go about there, let's say, that moves that to about 55, minus 55. So let's represent that in the timeline. I'm going to use a new float track, and this is going to be called blocking. So at 0 seconds, we want to set that to 0. And let's think, let's say a quarter of a second, 0.25 seconds. Let's say that. We're going to move that down to 0.25 seconds. We're going to move that down to minus 55. Let's just make sure that's working. There we go. So minus 55. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compile that and plug it in. Now, we just need to quickly set the relative location, or rotation, sorry, set the relative rotation. And on update, we're going to say set relative rotation. Now you can see a lot of different options here. You can see what I said last time, we've got location and rotation on these. We just want rotation, so we want to set relative rotation of the hinge. There we go. I'm going to split the strut here by right clicking, and I'm going to plug that into the roll. Now that should work. Let's give it a go. So already you can see that should have happened like that, but I'm now blocking. No longer can I be hit by this because my lightsaber is blocking. So let's have a quick look. Okay. What we are going to say is, once we let go of the key, let's reverse. So let's try that. Let's jump in. Heating up my lightsaber. Block. Blocking shots. I've let go and that. Oh, there we go. I've let go and there it is. So what I'm going to change, because I just realized something that's wrong here. The length of this shouldn't be 5. It should be 0.25. So change the timeline so it's an appropriate length. Let's give it a go. My lightsaber. Block. Block. I'm going to let go now. There we go. Perfect. So I can block. Let go. And I should be able to take damage now. There we go. Block. Take damage. Block. There we go. Working perfectly. So there is an issue with this. You can see I'm now right clicking. I'm not blocking, but I am rotating my lightsaber. Let's have a quick look why that's happening. Because we are making the condition dependent on the and, not the entire section of code. So let's pull this across. So my apologies here. So instead of plugging that into there, let's pull a strand from pressed and let's get a branch. Plug it in there and unplug it from this one here. So here we go. This should work now. So I shouldn't be able to. There, I can't rotate my lightsaber anymore, and I also can't block. Not the lightsaber. Block. Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, and tick that to yes. There we go. Tick block into yes. I unplugged that, but I didn't re-tick it to yes. So let's double check. Block. There we go. So the bullet's been destroyed, and I'm blocking it. So then when I let go of it, there we go, I take damage again. Perfect. So we've now got a system which, highlight this, is able to block. And we've also got a system which is able to take damage if we're not blocking. Which is pretty much done. That's nice and simple. Now, like I said, this isn't a very complicated system for taking damage. I would probably, when making an actual game, I would obviously have a health system for myself. I'd also have maybe some screen shake, or maybe a screen effect to make the screen go red when I'm hit. But for the sake of this tutorial and showing you different processes, this launch character should work fine. If you do want to know how to make a health system from taking damage, there is an example of that in the beginner series, which I did do before this one. So if you'd like a little bit more help on that, take a look at that. Or alternatively, I have briefly mentioned how to do that, verbally at least, through this video and the previous video as well. So make sure that your character, yourself, make sure that you're able to block your enemy fire, and then also that you're able to take damage when not blocking. If your character does that, you're ready to move on to the next video. If not, make sure that you go back through this video and double check where you went wrong, and see if there's any issues with your code.